Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the Hockey Think Tank, an online community for all passionate players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We're going to start off with maybe a little baseball talk. Jeffrey had a little baseball excursion with some former baseball players. And then we are going to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. And that is the power of playing for something bigger than yourself. We're going to talk development. We're going to talk team. We're going to talk culture. And this is the thing that I am, preaching from the rooftops right now in a lot of different ways. And this past week, I traveled up to Minnesota to give the keynote speech at the big banquet before the Bantam AA state championships, which are the big Bantam championships before, all the kids go on to play high school hockey. And obviously everybody knows the high school hockey state tournament up in Minnesota is such a big deal. And so it was an honor to be up there and gave this speech and wanted to share with all of you here today, because it is something that I think is so incredibly powerful, so incredibly important, and something that we need to bring to the forefront as we're developing our men and women in our game. So really, really excited for this. Before we do get to all of that, though, let's bring on the talent of the podcast. One, Jeffrey, Jehu, Lavecchio, Vex, Mr. Jeter. What's going on today?
Mr. Jeter. All right, guys. So about 2 weeks ago, about maybe 10 days, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, the CEO of First Form and I start going back and forth in the Instagram DMs because he said hitting a baseball is the hardest thing in all sports. And I said, playing hockey is the hardest thing in all sports. Like, baseball, you got to hit a ball, like whatever, it's one thing you got to focus on. In hockey, I was like, and it's like, you can't compare these things, but I'm like, yeah, you hit the ball. I'm like, but in hockey, like you got to worry about being hit. You can't go out of bounds like you can in football, where you just like run out and then nobody can touch you. There is no out of bounds. You get hit into a wall that doesn't move. You got to do all the skills we have to be doing while not being hit and all these things, right? And so we start going back and forth, and then he tells me he's going to play me in hockey. And I was like, dude, hockey is a contact sport, so getting into him, baseball's not contact. Then my buddy, Jacob Turner, who's been on our podcast, unbelievable human, 10th overall pick in the MLB back in the day, played 7 or 8 years in the MLB, 10 years pro as a pitcher. He starts chirping because he played hockey till 8th grade at the AA level. So like a pretty high level
player.
Here. Yeah. So he's a good player. And then I think he just chose baseball because obviously he got drafted 4 years later out of high school, 18 years old, 10th overall pick. So we start saying, okay, I'll try and hit a ball and you guys got to play me in hockey, right? So here's the thing though. It wasn't like an apple to an apple, because if it was, Jacob would have been pitching to me and I'd hit Jacob and then we would play each other in hockey, right? Mm-hmm. But so they got a current pro. This guy played in the MLB 2 years ago, Nick Gardewine. Awesome guy. Just met him. Absolutely love him. What a cool dude. But he's peaking right now. He's leaving on Monday to go down to the Mexico League. Like, he's like nasty down there. Okay.
So he's still playing. Yeah.
He's still playing. He was in the MLB 2 years ago. He's peaking right now. Like he was. So I'm thinking I'm going in there and I'm like, I can hit a baseball is kind of my claim. So I'm thinking I'm going to get like 50 to 100 just like throws. He's going to throw whatever, and I'm going to try and hit it 50 to 100 times. No. Because he's peaking, he could only throw like 30 balls. So I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So then I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get 30 balls here. No, there was 3 other batters there who are pro baseball players. I think they're in like AAA or AA, or I think AA maybe they said. Yeah. So me and these guys, so like I get almost no warm up. I go in the cage, my first three up, 3 down. Not even close.
Was he throwing like different pitches, like fastballs?
Yes, he's pitching for real too. He's not. Yeah, he didn't only throw fastballs down the middle. Like, no, he was pitching to beat me, right? So, he did. They were all like laughing because he did. What did they call it? Like a sidestep slider, like a quick step instead of like a full windup, I guess. Mm-hmm. He tried to like trick me, and I'm like, dude, come on, bro. So anyways, second at bat, second one, he throws a fastball and I foul tip it and I start selling it. I'm like, yeah. So I strike out though. I go down swinging. Third at bat, I get a lot of it. I'm talking like if it's a millimeter, if my bat was a millimeter higher, it's a ding dong. It's a dingy. It's home run, sayonara. It went straight up. I put it on Instagram. You guys can hear it hit the bat. You can see it. My buddy got a slow-mo video. So did I fail? Yes. However, when we take into account
that was a foul tip, that last one, right?
Foul
the
tip,
one that
foul
like
tip.
yeah,
Tip.
Okay.
But they were the baseball guys, all the MLB guys, like, you're not even going to touch it. You're not even going to sniff it, blah, blah, blah. 3 other pro baseball players there, they didn't even touch a ball. Out of 10 pitches, I touched 2. So I'm like, okay, like, you know, I've been swinging a bat for 10 days. And if you watch my first video, Toph, you got to go back.
I've seen it.
It's my swing was so ugly. I didn't even know what I was doing, right? I was like stopping, like it's terrible. My swing now, yes, it's obviously still ugly compared to like real baseball players, but way better. And now I won't lie, guys. I am, because I can't play hockey because of my concussions. That really sucks. It's really hard on me not having like that competitive outlet. Going to the batting cage is my new thing. I freaking love it. It's super fun. Like I've been watching my video to try and make my form better. It's really fun. I would say, you know, you're a hockey guy who's bored in the summer. Instead of going and doing nothing, go get in a batting cage, try and hit both hands. Like just try and work your hips. It's super fun. You're working coordination. You can, you know, put lunch on it with your buddies or put a Powerade or
is that going to be the
whatever.
new thing in the new GMT gym? Is there going to be a batting cage in there soon or what?
So we have a really long, we got a 40-yard track at the back of my biggest gym, and we have a golf sim in there. The golf sim doesn't take up that much room. So if I can figure out a way to move the golf sim back, I am 1,000% going to get a pitching machine in there. I love it, dude. So anyways, we played hockey just now, me and Turner, and he can skate, but that's not hockey, you know? So like skating around, I was like, oh dude, you actually like, I know you haven't played in a minute, but like, yeah, I could see it. But then he touched the puck and it was like, it was pretty, it wasn't hockey. Right. So we had a ton of fun. We raised a little bit of money today. So super cool day. And that's why I'm literally wearing baseball pants right now. I have
the bomb squad.
I have the full baseball get up on right now. And yeah, it's been a fun day, bro.
You know, it's really funny, and people our age will appreciate this. But when you talked about like how excited you got for your 2 foul tips, I immediately thought of the Little Giants when they're playing against the Cowboys and they gained a yard. And you remember that? We gained a yard. Yeah. Everybody starts dancing, like, you know.
And then they show the coach, and he's like, yard, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Al Bundy.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, Ed O'Neill was so good in that movie.
So good in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that, like seeing your eyes light up for like 2 foul tips. But that is, I mean, that's kind of cool. It's a major league pitcher.
I mean, for me, it's like, dude, I mean, he threw 93, 92 today, and I foul tipped it, you know? I mean, them all being like, you're not going to touch it. And me not swing a baseball bat for literally 30 years. And then watching YouTube
so
videos.
Is the debate settled? Is the debate settled? Is hockey harder than baseball? Have they acquiesced?
It was just both of us just talking smack, you know, like just having a good time. It was a lot of fun over the last 2 weeks, just talking smack back and forth. So, but I will say this, and this is not on camera, which really sucks because we got a lot of this on camera with First Form today. On the way out of the rink, I said, you know what we got to do next? A team of hockey players versus a team of baseball players playing the actual sport against each other.
Oh my God, that would
and
be
Turner
hilarious.
goes, yeah, obviously hockey wins. And I just looked at him. I was like, damn it, I wish I was on camera.
Nice. Oh, that's so funny. So funny. Baseball was my second love, man. Like I played baseball.
I remember watching you. You were good.
I played all the way up until high school, and then I kind of gave it up for hockey. And yeah, man, like I miss it. Like I love watching baseball, love playing baseball. Lucy, my middle daughter, she's taken a liking to it actually. She's got pretty good hand-eye coordination. And so I started pitching her a few like just underhand softballs, and she like smoked it. And I was like, wait, what? And it was cool because she's like, oh, I'm good at this. I'm like, yeah, you kind of are. Like, this is pretty cool, Lou. So I actually just signed her up for softball, and she's all excited to.
Are you
play
going to coach or just watch?
I said I'd be an assistant coach.
Nice.
So when I signed her up, you can say head coach, assistant coach, you know, kind of thing. So signed her up $300. So for all the hockey parents out there, $300 for her baseball season.
How long is the season? $300.
I don't know. It's the spring and the summer. I don't know.
Dude, that's really cool.
Probably should have read that, but not great at reading directions. Yeah. So pretty interesting, but I miss it. And to see her kind of light up when she did it, it was pretty cool. But anyway, so let's get into the nitty gritty of what we'll talk about here today, and then we'll get to the people who support us. But so just as a background, guys, so this past week, I traveled up to Minnesota, right around the St. Cloud area in Sartell. And so I didn't even realize this, but they make a really, really big deal out of their state championships. Not that all states don't do that, but a really, really big deal in the sense that, you know, the people that make it, they bring in guest speakers, they do a big banquet the night before, they really, you know, kind of play it up, and it was really cool. So they invited me up to be the guest speaker for their Bantam, their top Bantam AA, but it's their top Bantam state championship. And so got the opportunity to speak to them and speak honestly, like about something I'm really, really passionate about right now. And that is the power of playing for something bigger than you. And we've talked about it a lot, where so much of what youth sports has become is about the individual and about making it, whatever making it means. And I think we've lost a little bit of the notion of how powerful and important it is to play for something bigger than you, play for the logo on the front of the jersey, you know? And so I gave a whole, you know, big kind of speech, and it was actually on the day that we're recording last night on it. And I cannot tell you the amount of feedback that I got from everybody that was in the room, just like, wow, you know, like, you're so right. You know, like it's such a big part of it. And hopefully I can convince everybody, you know, last night in the speech and then here with this podcast about how important it is to really understand your place in the world and how playing for not just yourself, playing for something bigger than you can make you better, makes you a better player, makes you a better person, and ultimately makes the team better when you have a group of individuals that think that way and play for each other. So I'm really excited to kind of go through this with you guys here today. And before we do get over to that, we do have some people to thank. First and foremost, our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all of your coaching education needs. They got thousands of drills, whiteboard explanations from really high-level hockey people, ability to go in and draw your drills up and create a library for yourself, or they have an associations platform where you can get this for every coach in your association. So just imagine all of the coaches putting their practice plans in one place, and you can just filter that on and on and on and on to the next generation of coaches. Just such a valuable tool for any youth organization. They also have IHS Plus now for coaches that want a little bit more, a little bit of higher level type stuff. And they also have family accounts. It's not just for coaches anymore. It is for players and for parents. So there's unbelievable content on there on player development for kids, on how to navigate the youth hockey journey for parents. And we have teamed up with them on those family accounts as well. So go to icehockeysystems.com today. Check that out. You won't regret it. One of the best hockey things you will have in the market. Jeffrey, what do you got?
I want to give a massive thank you to Train Heroic. Guys, off season is here for some of you. Some of you are in your 2-3 week off period, or you're playing another sport, and then you're going to start your off-season training to be a better hockey player. Train Heroic allows me to do this. This summer is the coolest, like the absolute best program, best accompaniments, things that we are able to put together for anybody who trains with me online this summer that I've ever been able to do. I am so freaking excited about my off-season training program. We've added so many cool things that are going to help every single player get better over the summer, including, if you want, shift-by-shift video breakdown by my company's video coach, who's a retired professional hockey player, working with a nutritionist that you can reach out to 24/7. He's dedicated to working with only my clients in person and online, video calls with me, and then obviously the most dialed off-season training program you can get online. So Train Heroic makes that all possible, and it's going to be dropping here in the next 2 weeks.
Boom. Let's go. Also want to thank Helios Hockey, one of the best hockey products out on the market for your kids' development. And it is a sensor that you put into your shoulder pad that gives you real-time data and feedback on your play, specifically on two big things, one being your skating. And so if you want to play hockey at a high level, skating is of the utmost importance, a high priority for all of us as we're developing players. and gives you really great development tools and feedback on your skating, and also a hustle score, which all the kids absolutely love. Everybody that I know that has Helios, they really take this hustle score to heart. It's really, really cool because every time you move, that sensor lights up and it gives you a little bit of an indication on how fast and how hard you're going out there on the ice. But the real big kicker, guys, is the ability to sync up with whatever video device you are using. So whether it is LiveBarn or an iPad or a phone or a camera, it can link up and you can get your shifts of your game or your reps in practice cut up for you directly after your skating session. So just again, an incredible development tool. And if you do have a video coach like a Mike Hunterbrinker in Vex's GMT advising, imagine the amount of time you are going to save by not having to cut up your kid's shift and being able to send that over to Hunts where he can now evaluate and help your kid develop. So go to helioshockey.com and use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, and you will get a 20% discount on your Pro Annual or your Pro 24-month subscription. Also want to thank Crossbar. Crossbar is an end-to-end software solution that can help you streamline all of your operations for your youth hockey organization. I know so many clubs that have made the switch over to Crossbar to help with those operations. And man, have they been so happy that they've done that. So things like a 5-star communication app, the ability to go in and have facility and financial management, the ability to schedule things from your big picture stuff like your season or little picture stuff like drop-ins and clinics. Guys, this is just like honestly a one size fits all, one place to go to run your youth hockey organization. For any hockey directors out there or for any parents out there who are presidents or on the board of youth organizations, this is just an absolute lifesaver. So go to crossbar.org today and check that out. Also, thank you to all of our amazing listeners. We love you guys so much. Appreciate all the feedback that you give to us. Appreciate you supporting what we do. If you could do us a solid, we would really appreciate any time that you could interact with our podcast on your podcast app. So anytime you like it, anytime you give us a rating or review or you comment, you download, you follow us, all that good stuff. It just goes a long way to helping us spread the message. And if you think we're providing a positive impact to the hockey world and think our message needs to be spread, anytime you interact with our podcast on the app, whether it's Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, we're everywhere. So yeah, anytime you can do that, that would be huge for us. And so Vex, with that, I am so excited for what we are going to talk about here today. Are you so excited as well?
Yes.
Well, first, before I get into just, my thing here, I'll ask you, I'll give you the floor. Let's say you've been on a lot of teams. You've been on a lot of really good teams. You've won championships. You've been on some not so good teams. I think whenever you play, as long as we have, you're going to see different types of experiences and types of teams that you're on. Talk to me about what you think about the kind of the power and the importance of understanding how to play for something bigger than yourself. How is that a value add for kids? How does it help teams? Like, just give me your overall view on what it means to you.
I don't care what you're doing in life. If you're a professional hockey player and that's how you make money, or you start your own company and that's how you make money later in life, or you work for a company and that's how you earn a living. You're on a team. You're working with other people. You're learning all of the things that a team first type of school of thought on your team is going to help you with, being on time, being responsible, being selfish, doing the job that maybe you don't want to do right now. As an entrepreneur, believe me, I do that a lot, all the time. I wear as many hats as I have to every single day, right? And when you're a kid who's on a team where that is the main messaging, like we're playing for something bigger than ourselves. This isn't about you. Like, don't, play for the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey. These are all like kind of cliches, but they all are like, they're so important. And I also, unfortunately, as Toph and I have been talking about over the last 7 years, I think our game has lost a little bit of that. I'm not saying it's gone, but I do think our game has lost a little bit of that with the over professionalization and things getting so serious at a young age that kids come out of locker rooms after games and they're not not that you need to be upset about losing, right? But they're like, well, I got 2 points, or their team wins by 8 goals and they're rattled noticeably because they didn't get a point, and that's not what we
Or
need.
their parents get mad at them for not having a point in an 8-0
And
win.
these aren't, we have to think about hockey and sports and life, but hockey, I found to be the best teacher in my experience, that we're setting these kids up to be successful and be happy and know how to handle stress and know how to handle loss and know how to handle being cut, being kicked when you're down, like all these things we can teach through the game of hockey. If we're coming from like a team first mentality type of thing, you're there for your brother, he's there for you, you're playing for something bigger, it's not just about you. It's just so damn important for these kids, and I really hope we get back to it even more.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you, man. And I think about, my time working at some really good academic schools and some really good hockey programs. I think about the amount of like recruiters that were coming for athletes in work outside of athletics, whether it was the finance world, whether it was, whatever, it doesn't matter. People want to hire athletes. And the reason why people want to hire athletes is because they understand how to be a part of a team. They understand how to play a role. They understand how to get out of funks and slumps. They understand accountability, all the things that help us be successful in whatever it is that we choose to do outside of the game once the game has passed us by. And, I think what I would hope to convince people, and again, this is something that if you listen to our podcast a lot, you've heard me say it before, but when it comes to maximizing your potential, when it comes to making the next level in our game, so I'll specifically talk to, the coaches and the parents and the players here, we can't just talk about hockey. It's not just talent that gets you to the next level. It's life skills. And I would argue that life skills are more important than talent. If you want to make the next level, talent's only going to get you so far. There's a ceiling on talent, and there's not necessarily a ceiling on character and life skills, because Vex, we know playing in college hockey and then playing, at the professional level, how many kids that we played with, they had the talent. There's no question they had the talent, but they got they were not even close to maximizing their potential because they didn't have the life skills to be able to get there. Like, how many millions of dollars have not been made or not been earned because a person did not have resilience or did not understand the importance of being consistent or did not understand how to minimize distractions in their life, outside of the game that 100% affected the way that they played, or did not understand how to play. Like, how many players do we know that had the talent but didn't understand how to play a role on a team that they were asked to play, and they were selfish?
Many players,
the amount of people that we know that missed out on incredible careers because they didn't have the life skills to do it. And then when you go even further, those were typically the people who really, really struggled in life after hockey too, because they didn't have the life skills to necessarily succeed or be fulfilled in whatever happened after hockey as well. So the stuff that we're talking about today, not only, when you talk about life skills, it's easy to talk about how it's going to make you a better person. But what I want to convince everybody today is that understanding how to be a part of a team and these life skills are actually going to make you a better hockey player too. It's going to make you more marketable to teams at the higher level. And so there's a lot of different things that we can talk about with that, and we'll get into that. But it's not just about the people. Like, this will make you a better hockey player. The life skills will make you a better hockey player and put you in a much better position to achieve your dreams and your goals. I promise you. So before I get into, all of it, Vex, thoughts on that?
Dude, I was able to play in the USHL, and then I was able to get better there, and then I was able to play in college hockey, and I was able to get better there, and then I was able to sign in the NHL and have a 10-year professional career because guys who were at those levels, who were like around the same skill as me but more, I was able to pass them because of the stuff that Toph is talking about, because of the life skills that I learned in juniors and from my parents, and the whole journey of hockey, failing, getting cut, getting over it, having good support system, having good coaches who made, an impact on me as a person and a player. Having good mentors around, like life mentors, stuff like that. Like, I was able to have the career that I had. That's why in my gym, like, it's so much more than just lifting weights. We're talking about this type of stuff. Every day when we're warming up, I'm talking about how important this type of stuff that's not to do with hockey, how important this stuff is for them now as a hockey player, and just as important for them whenever they're done with hockey, with whatever they do. I don't even care. Actually, dude, I got one of my guys. He's a senior in college. He started off playing D1 and he finished in NCAA D3. And he sent me a video on Friday after his exit meetings with his coaches. He's done with hockey. And he sent me a video saying that the strength coach on his way out stopped him and said, I'm going to miss you so much for what you brought every day to the gym as a leader. Your intention, your ability to pay attention to the details, how you held yourself in here, how you, how you held other guys accountable. He's like, I wish the whole team was you. And he sent me this video. And then he said, I owe that to you, Bex, and everything that you've talked about in the gym.
So cool.
And I sent him a video back, and I get emotional now. Addison Bruick, he's been with me for a long time. And I said, dude, like, you should be proud. Like, that's not me. That's you. Like, you had to learn these things. You had to do them every day. That's why you made it to play Division I and Division III. But I said, Brew, you are going to be successful because of what you just did, like living that way. You are going to be so successful in life after hockey, and you are going to figure it out no matter what obstacle comes your way, because there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be hard times, just like there were in your hockey career. But you showed up every day the right way. You were a good teammate and a good person, and that is why you're going to be successful the rest of your life.
Love it, dude. So cool. So cool. It hits on so many different levels. And a lot of what you just spoke about is what we'll talk about here today, and the power of playing for something bigger than you. And so the way that I've structured this is we're going to talk about 5 things, because when you talk about playing for something bigger than you, well, what is it? Like, what is it that we should be playing for, And so there's kind of 5 things that I have. Number 1, play for the people that got you here. Play for the people that got you here. Honor the people. You think about the sacrifice. You think about the effort that your community, that your village, that your family, that your parents, think about all the things that they have done for you, and honor them with your effort in what you do. It's going to make you better. You think about all the things that your folks have sacrificed: time, effort, money, sleep to allow you to reach your dreams. Play for them, honor them, give the same effort that they've given you in supporting you on your journey. The second thing is play for the people that laid the bricks. And what I mean by that is, this is why I love college hockey. There's a reason. So I think about, I'll just talk about Cornell for a second, but we can add in any of the schools that I worked at. We had an expectation of winning a national championship every year. We have a sold out crowd. We have an unbelievable facility. If it wasn't for the blood, sweat, and the tears of all the people that came before us, we would not have the experience that we have. And you can add high school hockey to that, club hockey, maybe in a little bit of a different way, but honor the people that came before you. We want to leave where we are better than where we found it. And so play for the people that allowed you to have the experience that you have, right? So play for the people that laid the bricks. The third thing, play for the next generation. So going along with that, there are going to be kids that are going to be sitting in the seats that you're sitting in right now. And going back to, you want to leave a program better than where you found it. There's going to be kids, based on how you perform and based on what you give from an effort standpoint and based on what you do for the culture of your program, there are going to be kids that are going to benefit from that 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And if you continue to honor the legacy of the people before you and leaving that place better than where you found it, like there's kids, like if you're a Bantam or you're a midget, there are kids that are watching you on the ice practicing. There are kids watching you in your games and thinking about, hey, I can be this person one day. And so honor them, with the effort that you put on so they can achieve the dreams of the same dreams that you have, right? So honor the next generation, play for the next generation.
I think that's something that's not talked about in youth hockey too much. In juniors a little bit, college a lot. We need more of that talk.
Totally. And we'll get into that. We can talk a little bit more on the nitty gritty of that. The fourth thing is play for each other. Play for your brothers, man. Play for your sisters. Like, again, when I do my team building and I travel around and work with different college programs, I ask them 3 questions. And if you answer yes to all 3 of these questions, then you are going to put yourself in an opportunity to win a championship this year. If there's a no to any of these questions, you probably don't have a chance, and you got to work really hard to turn those no's into yeses. And the first question that I ask them, this is from a college standpoint, is, are you the closest team in the country? Like, do you genuinely care about each other? Do you genuinely love each other? Do you genuinely like hanging out with each other and play for each other? Right. And so, play for the person next to you. It's the whole, Spartan way of battle, where you are fighting not for your survival, but you're fighting for the person to your right or the person to your left survival. And that's why they were so incredibly good and won so many wars back in the day. If you've seen the movie 300, just so many parallels to, being a great team, and it's all about playing for each other. And so we'll talk about that. And then lastly, play for your future self. And what I mean by that is, we can all sit here and talk about, and Vex, you and I just talked a little bit about what this game has given us, and we are successful in our lives, both from a hockey standpoint and from a life standpoint, because of what we learned from this game. So what we put in the present and those life skills that we're gaining from going through all the experiences that we do, it's making us better. So the more effort we put into what we do today, it's making us better in the future. And so play for that future you as well. So those are the 5 things that we'll kind of go through here today. And guys, like when I gave my speech, I've never been so convicted in anything that I've talked about. I've never been so jacked and pumped to talk about a specific topic, because this is something that we need way more of in our world today. This is something that makes us, when we talk about, this is development on steroids right now. This is team building. This is culture on steroids right now. When you can understand the power of playing for something bigger than you, man, it's just such a powerful thing. And so I'm so excited to talk about this here today. So Vex, are you ready to rock and roll?
Let's dig in. Let's hit some dinghies.
Okay, cool. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is playing for the people that got you here, right? Playing for the people that got you here. And for all the kids that are listening to this right now, that are in the car, potentially with your mom or with your dad, or maybe grandma or grandpa, I can tell you that as a parent now, I got 3 kids, and, you guys have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. You have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, and the time and effort and sacrifice that your parents make so you're able to live out your dreams and be on that pursuit, to be in the best you that you can be. And so, man, a thank you goes a long way. I'm just going to say that right now. Every single kid that is listening to this right now, pause it. Look over to your mom, look over to your dad, look over to grandma and grandpa. If you're in a car, if you're not in a car, give them a hug or a kiss and just say thank you. You will have no idea how impactful that will be for your parents, because we wear it with you. When you hurt, we hurt. When you are elated, we are elated. We are on this ride with you. We are riding the waves, and parents, man, Vex and I, we talk about a lot. We both won the parent lottery. We've have amazing influences. We have amazing parents. We would not be here without them. And so what I told the kids last night is, think about all the effort that your parents have put into you. Think about all the effort and support that they have given you on your journey, and honor that with the effort that you put forth in your workouts, in your practices, in your games, you owe it to them. Honestly, at the end of the day. And so playing for something bigger than you're honoring the people that helped to get you here, your village, your community, your family, not just your parents, your siblings, everybody that supported you along the way. If you're not giving your best effort, you're not trying to fulfill your potential, you're not honoring the people that have put everything that they have into your journey. And so, Vex, I have a couple videos that audio clips that I'm going to play here, but just thoughts on that before I get to those.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, honestly, is at the end of my advising calls with my young players, all of them, if they live at home, I'm like, now go hug your mom or dad, because you don't understand. You don't understand. Like, even when you think you understand, and even I can't even understand yet because I've never had to do it. But as I'm older, just seeing, the sacrifice that parents make for young hockey players, the driving, the practice, the games, the out of town, the money, the energy and effort. And it's a lot. Hockey is a lot, and it's awesome. And that's why everybody's obsessed with it. And that's why everybody loves it. But young players, if you're riding in the car with your mom or your dad or your grandma or grandpa, whoever's taking you to the rink all the time, give them the biggest hug you've ever given them and say thank you, because they deserve it. And
100%.
they're going to stand in the rink freezing their butt off watching you. You're warm on the
Wake
ice.
up at 5 a.m. to get you to the rink,
And there's still fog on the ice because it's so cold in there. Like, they're freezing their butt off for you. Give them a hug and a kiss.
Yeah. And I think about like, it's not as a parent in hockey, because hockey is a little bit more of an affluent sport. But you think about some of these other sports, you see these videos of some of these football players, that didn't have great upbringings, and maybe they had a single mother that kind of helped them along the way. And then, they make the NFL or something like that, and they have the ability to like buy their mom a house. Have you ever seen some of those videos? And
that
just
was my whole goal. Goal.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy my parents a Cadillac. I told them that. When I signed the NHL, I was like, as soon as I make enough money, the first thing I'm going to do is buy you guys a Cadillac.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
And part of that pursuit, to greatness was to honoring the people that sacrificed so much, for you. And so it makes you better. Like I said, like that the power that comes with that feeling of wanting to, fulfill your potential so you can, honor. Yeah. I think the best word, honor the people that helped you and sacrificed for you. It's a powerful, powerful thing. And so I'm going to play a little audio clip here for you guys. And this is from Marty St. Louis. We had a podcast with Marty St. Louis, gosh, probably 6 years ago now, Vex. But I'm sure most people know who Marty St. Louis is. If you don't, he is NHL Hall of Famer, current coach of the Montreal Canadiens, standing a whole, 5'8", 5'9", had to go through a lot in his hockey journey. And we asked him about his parents when he was on our podcast, and he gave just a really cool saying that I'll play here right now.
I grew up in a very, loving environment, building confidence environment, and, learning from your mistakes. And, there was never car rides of, we should have done this, X, Y, and Z. And my dad always said to me, it's a lot easier from my seat. I make no mistakes from my seat. And so he was pretty hands-off that way. And I think and my mom didn't know anything about hockey, so it was actually good. But she knew a lot about life, and she was a cheerleader and always pick me up when I was down, build my confidence for sure as a smaller player. And she was always reassuring that everything's going to be okay. And I was hard on myself in general. So, my parents definitely were never hard on me. And that's not with sport. My dad was demanding with school, and, they're respecting others and all that, but with sport, they never were demanding.
So just a great clip from Marty St. Louis there. And I think, going back to a previous point that we talked about, Marty St. Louis, if you listen to interviews that he does, or you listen to that clip right there, who does he credit for making the NHL? He credits his mom. His mom knows nothing about hockey. He said that in that clip, right? It's like, my mom knew nothing about hockey, but she knew a lot about life. And going back to something we were talking about earlier, it's not just talent. It's not just hockey stuff that gets you there. It's the life skills. And so, you know, if you're not familiar with the story of Marty St. Louis and his mom, it's actually a really hard, you know, but really just kind of inspiring story where he was playing for the New York Rangers and they were in the midst of a playoff run and his mom passed away. And it's funny because I play that clip and I talk a little bit about that. And I was in Columbus doing work with the Junior Blue Jackets, AAA Blue Jackets in Ohio. And one of Marty St. Louis' teammates, actually, Derek Dorsett, was on the team that I'm going to talk about here in just a second, and told this story in a little bit more in depth. And, you know, he got emotional even thinking about it, but how the story goes. And I might not get these details totally 100% correct, but I will try to the best of my ability. But, so St. Louis' mother passed away during the midst of a playoff run. And so at the time, you know, the team was down 3-1 in the series. And so Marty St. Louis flew up to Montreal to attend his mom's funeral, and they weren't expecting him back, you know, to be with the team. You know, he was going to be with his family. And so the team was kind of getting ready, and the way that Doris was kind of talking about the story was like, we were done, man. Like, our emotional leader was gone. You know, we were feeling for him, like just the mood in our locker room. Like, we were just, it wasn't there, you know. And then I can't remember who it is that they were playing, but he talked about they were on the road for game 5 after being down 3-1, you know, not expecting St. Louis to be there. And they all showed up to the rink for their morning skate. And there was Marty St. Louis in the locker room riding the bike. And just said it was just an instant lift, you know, for the team. And they ended up coming back and winning that series 4-3. And then in the next series that they played, you know, I think everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people know the story about they played on Mother's Day. So this is like days after St. Louis' mother passed. And they played a playoff game on Mother's Day that ended up going to overtime. And guess who scores the game-winning goal in overtime? It was Marty St. Louis. And so again, like what we're talking about here today, guys, is, you know, honor the people that help to get you there. He talks so passionately and emotionally about a person who has helped him to get to the highest levels of this game and achieve its dream, who really knew nothing about the sport, but knew a lot about life. Right. And so that's where we talk about life skills help to get you there. Thoughts?
I mean, dude, I don't have my light on now, but in my gym next to my office in the basement here, I have my dad's only advice to me my whole hockey career from 6th, 7th grade on. Hard work, patience, more hard work. We never talked about like tactical things on the ice. We never talked about anything other than like that was his advice. Have fun, play your bag off, and remember, hard work, patience, more hard work. I'd call him have a good game, same thing. Call him have a bad game, just remember, Jeff, hard work, patience, more hard work. Like, you know, just instilling in me that like, if this is what you want, it's about consistency. That's what that means. Hard work, patience, more hard work. It's about just showing up every single day. And, you know, my dad is one of the hardest workers I know, if not the hardest worker I know, honestly. And I, without knowing this, I was catching it. It was caught, not taught. You know, my work ethic, just watching what my dad did every day to support our family and to make sure that he was at, you know, all my hockey games and able to go on weekend trips or week-long trips to Canada and middle school, despite being, you know, usually the only person who's doing all the work within his business, and he found a way. And so same thing for me, you know. It's so true, guys. It's so true. The game mirrors life. Life mirrors the game.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the hockey stuff I talked about with my mom or dad. My dad was a coach on a lot of our teams, but I certainly remember a lot of the life lessons they shared with me. You know, the good times, the not so good times, the really, really hard times, you know, they were there. And so, yeah, man, I got one more audio clip that I'm going to play, and then we'll move on to the next one. But this clip went viral just last week. So it was the Minnesota State high school championships, which is obviously a huge deal in Minnesota. They sell out the Excel Center. It's called something else now, but where the Wild play, 20,000 people for these games, huge deal. And War Road actually won the state championship. Not the first time they've done it. They're a powerhouse certainly, and a little bit of foreshadowing. May or may not have their coach on the podcast here at some point in the near future. But anyway, so there was a clip that went viral of one of their captains, Ryan Shagabe, who the announcers asked him about his dad, and so here you go.
Have to start talking. Tell us about it. It means so much to me. My dad obviously started put skates on my feet, and I cannot thank him enough for all the money he spent, all the time he spent, all the sacrifices my family made. Because without them, I wouldn't be getting all this praise. So, I mean, without them, God, my friends, my teammates over there.
Ryan, thank you so much. Congratulate your father for me as well. You guys are state champions.
Ryan, it's a heck of a way to end your high school career, man. Congratulations. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Man, what a clip. I mean, in Minnesota, winning the state championship for your town is, the ultimate. And so to hear him be so emotional when asked about his dad, it was just a really, really touching moment. And, I remember a couple different times, some of my really big highs in my career, and then like seeing my parents for the first time. And then it's just puddles, man, because it just comes to you, everything that they've done for you. It's almost similar to like the first time I saw my parents after we had our first baby. It's just like all that emotion comes rushing out, all that elation, all that joy, but also the respect and just the gratitude, for everything that they've done for us. And so it was just a really cool moment there at the Excel Center watching that. And man, just, So this whole thing, guys, like, there's a lot of people who sacrifice a lot to get you to where you are today. And our job is to honor them with the effort and the passion for which we put into our dreams that they've sacrificed so much for, so we can go along with it. And really, really cool stuff, eh?
Yeah, that clip, it reminds me, I was so lucky. I was 99% sure I was going to sign after my junior year. So my mom came out to my last college game in Ferris State.
Mm-hmm.
And then she came back and stayed at my apartment when I got the contract. I signed it with her, and she took me to the airport. And I just remember being so happy she was there for that, and hugging her and just being like, this is because of everything like that you taught me, you did, like you driving me. We used to have to drive an hour to practice over in Illinois 2 days a week, and so that's 2-hour drive. She'd have to sit there for an hour and a half, in bum F Illinois, right over the border, and like all these rinks. And it was usually my mom driving me to a lot of practices during the week because my dad was working. And so to have her there for that was one of the best moments of my life, for sure. And I remember I got on the airplane to go to Boston from Western Michigan, and the first plane was like a super small prop plane. And for whatever reason, like there was a small airport. She was like at the door right before I'd walk onto the actual where the plane takes off. Like it wasn't like I was in the airport. You walk up to the plane, right? And so like I feel like she was either outside or right by the door. And I remember like hugging her, and I was like, all right, like here we go. Like this is a new life. And kissing her and being like, thank you so much for everything. Like I'm not a boy anymore. Like, let's go. And I was crying walking up to the plane. I was crying now, especially because what you talked about with me before the show. But, thinking about that, guys, your parents, like it's everything, man. Like you have to give them hugs and kisses, and you have to tell them how much they mean to you, because they sacrifice so much.
Nobody ever did it alone. Nobody ever did it alone. It takes a village, it takes a community. And so honor that with what you put into it. So that's going to make you a better player. Right? It's going to make you a better player. All right, moving on to the next thing. Play for the people that laid the bricks. Play for the people that laid the bricks. And this is, again, I said it before, but it's why I loved playing and coaching college hockey, is because you really, really get a great understanding of what tradition means. And so at the places that I worked at Cornell, at Michigan, at Miami at the time, like, and they're coming back now, but like every year there's an expectation of winning a national championship. You know, that doesn't happen without the blood, sweat, and tears of the people that came before you. Every year, sold out crowds. Well, that doesn't happen without the people that came before you and the winning that they did to get the crowds into the seats. You think about all the great amenities. You think about all the different things like that you have at your rinks and all the development tools at your disposal. You know, you don't have that stuff without the success and without the work of the people that came before you. And so having a great understanding of that, and this is something that I think Shafe at Cornell had a really big gift for. We did a lot of things at Cornell to really honor the past and the tradition of our program. For instance, one of the things that we would do every year is we would do a Cornell hockey trivia night where we'd split the team up into a couple different teams and we'd all get the media guides and we'd have to kind of understand the history of the program. And then we would do like a Jeopardy type of competition in the locker room where the coaches would ask us questions about championship teams or All-American players or, you know, different things about the history of our program. And it really gave us a great understanding, but even more powerful, a greater appreciation for the people that came before us in the program. And I think it's a big part of the reason why we won a lot is because Cornell hockey meant something to us. And there was always alumni around and you could tell that Cornell hockey meant something to them. And our performance, it reflected upon them too. It didn't just reflect upon us. Our performance reflected upon the tradition and the legacy of the people that came before us. And so you get that in community hockey. You get that in high school hockey. If you do it right, you can get it in club hockey. Although I would say it's a bigger hill to climb and you have to work a lot harder to really honor that past and that tradition. But just having the understanding and even further, like I said, the appreciation of the blood, sweat, and tears of the people that came before you, it makes you better. It makes your team better. It gives you a deeper understanding of your place, of where you are in your program. And when you're playing for something bigger than you, you're playing for your alumni, you're playing for your town, you're playing for the people that have laid the bricks, man. That's a powerful thing. And it makes teams better. It makes programs better. And I would encourage, you know, every program out there, whether it's leadership or coaches, to really, really help your kids understand what happened before the kids got there that allowed them to have all the great experiences that they're going to be having.
I tell the kids in St. Louis all the time, like, because we played in the Michigan National Hockey League, which you were in, CYA, when you were in that.
The MNHL.
Dude, what a great league that was. I mean, just really, well, like I only know our age group, right? But just so many good players, and Honey Baked and CYA and you know, Little Caesars and just all these really good teams. But the stipulation for St. Louis getting into that league was teams don't have to travel to you. So we had to travel out of town every single weekend to play in that league, which is hilarious that was a thing. Like, what a joke looking back, like as an adult being like, what? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
I would have never allowed that. But I tell AAA teams in St. Louis, I'm like, look, dude, I'm the old geezer. I'm like, look, boys, like what you have here, we didn't get to keep our gear at a rink. That wasn't a thing in St. Louis. No AAA teams had that. We didn't have off-ice training. We didn't have nutrition. We didn't have all this stuff. Oh, and guess what? No one played in St. Louis because they thought we sucked, and so they didn't want to take the trip and waste money. So if we wanted to play against you, we had to drive or fly to you. Like, that's what we had to do wearing the same jersey you are. So you guys better work your bags off and never let that happen again. And that's why I am in St. Louis and not in some massive city training hockey players, because I want to never let that happen to St. Louis again.
Boom. Love that. Yeah, I remember that. You guys traveled
so much, dude. And we went to Canada like 6 times.
We talk about how like traveling has gone haywire now today, and then it's like, oh yeah, we did that too, or dude, you did that too, I should say.
We did that, yeah.
We didn't.
We had to go to you to have you beat us with only 2 lines while the other guys were in the stands, and you played without a goalie in the 3rd period, and you beat us 7-1. So maybe they were right. Maybe they shouldn't have to come to it. No, but other teams we didn't play. We played better.
I hear you.
We had like 9 guys go D1, so we actually had a sick team.
Yeah. Yeah. So understanding the past, guys, understanding the past, playing for the people that laid the bricks so you can have what you have. Again, it's going to make you better. Next thing, going along with that, play for the next generation of kids that are going to be wearing the same shoes that you're wearing right now. They're going to be sitting in the same seats that you're sitting in right now. And so I have two, I'll just read them, but I have two social media posts that I think really encapsulated this. And again, this is, I think the gift of community hockey. And so we'll talk a lot about Minnesota today, but like these are two posts from the high school state tournament that just happened last weekend. And so this first one, this is about Moorhead, who ended up actually winning one of the state championships. And this tweet says, "This is Drew Corton and John Gramer watching Moorhead warm up at the 2017 state tournament. They were 7 years old and dreaming of being down there on the ice. Tonight, they won the state championship as sophomores." So there's a picture of these two young kids, from behind as they're watching warm-ups going on the ice. And you can just kind of see, like them just kind of entranced in like, this could be me one day kind of thing, And so again, like your effort, it doesn't give you chills, like your effort and the way that you play your performance, it's laying the bricks for the next generation that's coming up. And then the other one, this will hit you as a parent, but it was a tweet from TJ Oshie, who played at Warroad and who also won a state championship. And his tweet said, "Got to watch this with my 4 kids. Would love to be in Lenny." Lenny's his daughter's name, but there's a picture of her watching, again, from behind, watching, the ice after Warroad won the championship, and they're going through the handshake line. It says, "Got to watch with my 4 kids. Would love to be in Lenny's brain right here. Helmets, gloves, and sticks all over the ice from the OT game-winning goal celebration. Champs and runner-up shaking hands. What's she thinking? I'm guessing something like, that'll be me one day. You gotta love sports." And so, God, like this just gives me chills thinking about my daughters and just, again, like when you have an understanding that your performance and your effort and the type of teammate that you are and the kind of culture that you help to create, that is laying the foundation or continuing on the foundation that's been laid for you. So future generations that are going to be wearing that same jersey can have the experience that you have. And so again, like we are, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, we are playing for the next generation, and what we do today is setting the table for the next group of players that are going to be putting that jersey on. And when you have an understanding of that, again, you put more intention into what you do. When you have an appreciation for that, you put more intention, more effort into the things that you do, which makes you a better player and provides you some life skills perspective that can help you be better outside of the rink as well. So thoughts on that, man, playing for the next generation?
I mean, it's just like comes back to pride. I think everything we're talking about comes back to like pride in self, pride in community, pride in your family, pride in others, pride in your team, and when it's like any scout can tell the difference between a player who's playing strictly for themselves versus a player who's playing to win for the team. Mm-hmm. Like, and I even look back on my own career and think like, because what happens is with a lot of young players is they get so obsessed with points because they think points means you're playing well, which means you're going to get to the next level. The reality is that's not really it. The next level, it is part of it. Yeah. Like that means you're having success. But especially as you get to the higher levels, like it's all about winning. And so like you can play a myriad of roles on a team to help the team win. And a team only needs certain amount of guys who are only good at getting points. For the most part, those guys are kind of getting phased out of the game. You have to be good at all facets, but like you could be just so good at penalty killing and face-offs that a team is like, dude, we need this guy, and that comes back to pride in yourself, pride. It's like the way you play is for yourself. It's for the guys coming up after you. It's for your organization. And those are the things that help your team win. And those are the things that make you a better player. Because if you're playing with that mindset, you're going to get more points. You're going to play better for the most part. So, everything we're talking about here today, it comes down to pride in some different areas of your life.
100%, man. I think, pride's a good word for it. Have pride in the people around you, have pride in the program that you're representing. Have pride in yourself. It goes a long way. I totally agree. Absolutely. Totally agree. So
I see pride. I see power.
I see a bad junior who won't take, what does he say? Who won't take.
He says, I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of nobody.
Yeah.
Once again, Junior Bevel, I see pride.
I see pride. Oh, if you know what that movie is, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I'm going to give you 5 seconds for this. 3, 2, 1. All right, Vex, name that movie.
Cool Runnings.
Oh, what a movie. What a movie back in the day. All right. So honor, play for the next generation. The next one, this for me is, all these are, incredibly powerful, but when you're a part of a team and you're a part of a team that plays for each other, you're a part of a team where everybody's bought in, everybody's pulling on the same rope, everybody is, on the same page, and the culture's right. The closeness is right. Like that, man, I don't know if there's any greater experience, Vex, than that, and that's a really hard thing you have to recruit the right people, to the room. You have to create the right environment as coaches. You have to have the right leaders and have leadership development. So you're developing leaders that can, hold the room accountable. And, but when you do find that room where you have a group of players that truly, honestly play for each other, man, dude, is there anything better?
Dude, nothing. For me, even though it was back in junior hockey, like in Omaha, that was one of the things that Hastings was so good at. He was the Herb Brooks, so like he'd get everybody to hate him but respect him, and then we'd bond together over that hatred of him. Yeah. And it brought how he did it. It used to work. The guys in Omaha, like what we went through there together. Like I'm still talking to guys today, 20 years later about fighting each other in practice or the battles we had or this or that or. And it's really cool. So it's special. But like Toph said here, he said two things that are very important. He said, you have to create it. And you also have to have coaches and people and leaders that are holding that standard accountable, holding guys accountable, holding themselves accountable. So you have to put effort into, this isn't something that just happens. You as the leadership, coaches, management, ownership, the leaders on the team, the actual players, you have to create this every day. You have to work at creating this environment. It's something that just doesn't happen. And then you also have to know, okay, when are we over our skis? When do we got to reel it in? You have to hold each other accountable and make sure that those standards are being met every single day.
Yeah, totally, man. And so I'm going to tell a little bit of story here of my time working at University of Michigan. And it's a pretty deep story, but it's I think it totally represents everything that we're talking about right now. And obviously when I was there, we had, 5 or 6 first round draft picks. Like we had a talented team. We didn't win a Big Ten championship and make the Frozen Four because of our talent. We had that success because we had a group of players that truly played for the Block M on the front of the jersey and played for each other. Like that was a tight group, a really, really tight group. We had great leadership. We had great freshmen that followed. Like it was just an amazing experience. And there was one thing that happened during the year that I think really, and again, a lot of times you become close through the tough times, getting through the tough stuff together. And I will never forget, I think it was in November, but got a phone call from NAR, on a Monday morning that one of our players, his name's Stephen Holtz, junior defenseman for us, just unbelievable team guy, was in the hospital. And so he contracted some type of, virus or infection that kind of spread throughout his body. And it was really, really scary. He had to get rushed to the hospital in an ambulance from his house on campus. And, they had to put him in a medically induced coma. And for a couple of days, guys, like we didn't know if he was going to make it or not. Like it was one of the scariest things I've ever been a part of. And, eventually, he recovered a little bit and kind of got out of the coma and, he was okay. And I'll never forget when he came to the locker room and saw us for the first time. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks after, the incident happened where he got rushed to the hospital. Man, he lost like 30 pounds. He didn't remember the names of probably half the players and coaches in the locker room. The infection, it took a toll on him. And so, I'll never forget, he was kind of like, I'm going to be back. And we were kind of like, no, man, like there's more important things in hockey, but he's such a proud kid and such a great teammate that no, like I'm going to be back. And so he had to like relearn basic fundamentals of hockey again, like skating, stick handling, passing, being on the ice with him during those times where this is a legitimate 6'3" defenseman playing at the University of Michigan. Having to kind of go back to the very, very, very fundamental basics, but he's such a hard worker, such a great teammate, was such an inspiration to everybody on our team. And I'll never forget, whatever it was, 3-4 months later when he came back and we were playing against the University of Wisconsin at home. And we started him in the starting lineups. And when he got announced, it was like, I don't know how long the standing ovation was from the crowd. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And so just kind of goes to show you the kind of guy that Holtzy was. But the story that I'll tell here as it relates to this, that's the beginning of it. So I'll set the scene for everybody. So we're playing against the University of Minnesota in the Big Ten championship game. They were the higher seed. They were the number one team in the country at the time. I don't know. I think we were third or fourth in the country. So it was just an unbelievable game. Like we had the Fantillis of the world and Luke Hughes and Frankie Nazar and Gavin Brindley, like all these guys playing in the NHL right now. Rucker McGroarty, Jimmy's son. They on Minnesota, they had Brock Faber and Jackson Lacombe and Logan Cooley and Matt Nyes. Like they were the game was an unbelievable game. Like one of the greatest college hockey games I've ever been a part of. And I'll never forget, it's the third period. There's about 18 minutes left in the third period. The game is tied 2-2. Sold out arena at Minnesota. Like the fans are going nuts. And unfortunately, I'll play a little bit of an audio clip here. This happens.
Unavailable for a moment. Now it's Brodzinski and Minnesota the other way. Pitlick back and forth, shoots, scores! What a goal!
So it's tied 2-2, Minnesota, Rhett Pitlick. If you remember, or even if you don't remember, go back. But this was the goal of the year. So Rhett Pitlick goes in between the stick, in between the stick, in between the stick, in between the stick, like completely roasts our defenseman, scores to make it a 3-2 lead for Minnesota. The place is going bananas. It's the goal of the year. All of the momentum is on Minnesota's side. Like it would take a Herculean effort for our team to claw back and win that game. And so here's the kicker, and here's the part of the story that not a ton of people know about. That defenseman who got walked in that clip, that defenseman was Stephen Holtz, who 3 or 4 months earlier was in a coma, and we didn't know if he was going to make it or not. And so I think about when that goal was scored. It's now 3-2 Minnesota with 18 minutes left in the third period in the Big Ten championship game. And I think about that next 18 minutes was some of the best hockey that we played of the entire year. We end up scoring a goal a couple minutes later to tie it 3-3. We score another goal later in the third period to go up 4-3, and we end up winning the Big Ten championship on their ice. And the reason, and I get emotional telling this story, having seen all of the effort that Holtzy went through, all the things and how his teammates supported him and how he supported his teammates and just the love it created within our room. And I think about the fact that we played an unbelievable 18 minutes. And why is that? Because if we lose that game, what are the headlines? The headlines are Pitlick scores game-winning goal in highlight fashion. Minnesota wins. And Holtzy is a proud dude. He's going to wear that for the rest of his life, And there was no way that our team, our players, were going to allow Holtzy to have to live with that memory. And so when I talk about playing for each other, like this was a group of young men that rallied for one of their brothers who they saw at the worst. Like we didn't know if he was going to make it or not. First time they saw him when he came to the locker room, like he was a shell of himself and then just worked and worked and worked. It was such an inspiration. Like they were not going to allow that to happen. And so I think about that. And isn't that what sports is all about? That's what it's all about. Like you win championships and you have these great experiences when you have a group of individuals that absolutely love and play for each other and play for the logo on the front. Again, we talked about it. There is no greater experience that you will have in sports, or I would even say maybe in life, than when you're a part of a group that has that camaraderie, that has that togetherness, that has that love. And so I think about that team, and whenever I think about that team, I think about Holtzy and just the players rallying for him in that moment. And man, dude, like, God, when you are a part of a group that plays for each other, there's nothing better.
I remember when you guys were going through that, or when that happened, and then you talking to you and you telling me that story and talking to Nerado about it. And I can't just, like, that's electric. That's one of the best stories I've heard in sports, the boys rallying for that specific reason. I mean, that is like,
I don't know, honestly, Vex, like, and I've thought a lot about this. Like, if it was another defenseman, I don't know if we win that game. Like, in all honesty, like
probably not.
The momentum that they had, the goal that was scored, like, honestly, go look it up, guys. It's like the goal of the year. It was all over social media. Like, that was a viral moment. And, but like, they were not going to allow that memory for Holtzy. Like, they just weren't going to do it. And it really, really cool.
God, man.
Still get chills thinking about it, man.
You gave me chills like 3 different times. I feel like the hyenas in Lion King.
Well, here, we'll give you one more audio clip here, guys. And this is actually from one of our previous podcasts that we did with the head coach at Army, Brian Riley. Just retired this past year, so he's not the coach there anymore, but he was the coach at Army for decades, and just one of the greatest human beings in this game. You know, if you're not familiar with the Riley family, they've been coaching, Army West Point Division I for forever almost. And so we had Brian on our podcast years ago, and he talked about an email that Derek Hines sent him. And so if you're not familiar with Derek Hines' story, he was a Army West Point hockey player who was killed in action overseas in a war. And so Brian talks about an email that he got from him, and I'll play the clip.
I got an email from Derek Hines on August 28, 2005, and he was killed on September 1st. And in that email, he said a lot of amazing things, but one of the things he said to me was, Coach, I thought that I understood the most important thing was being in a room and knowing this guy has my back, this guy has his back. But you know what the most important thing is, Coach? He goes, when I go out now and we go out on a mission, I'm not going out with the guy next to me. I'm going out to fight for the guy next to me. And so that always has had me thinking since then, you know what? That's the same thing in a team. Like it's getting players to understand, you want to have a special team, then have a team full of guys that play for each other.
Man, just again, such powerful stuff. And what's the ultimate team? It's our service members. They literally we talk about it metaphorically. You take a bullet for your teammate. These people literally do that. And so if you can get a group of people that plays for each other, my God, like, can you amplify the development of the culture of the team? My God, will you amplify the development of each individual player, because they're going to put more intention and effort into things that they do on an everyday consistent basis. Again, another consistency of every championship team that I've been a part of, where practices were harder than games. It was an absolute war in practice. Everybody brought their best compete, and it made everybody else better. And when you're playing for each other, you have way more competitive practices. And a byproduct of that is everybody develops at a much faster rate. And so again, if you can find a group of people that play for each other, man, sky's the limit team-wise, and sky's the limit individually.
Man, you're throwing smoke today, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, this is like the hill I'm going to die on. Like, this is something that we need more of in our game. Like, it's, again, you said it at the beginning, it's not lost. It's certainly not lost, but it ain't where it needs to be. And so much of the communication and so much of what youth sports has become is about the individual journey and the quote unquote making it. And what can you do for me lately to get me to my dreams? No, No, it's about the front of the jersey. And again, hopefully we can convince everybody listening here that actually playing for the front of the jersey is going to make you better, and it's going to get you closer to the dreams that you have. So playing for each other.
So important what Toph just said there, guys. Please play back that last 10 seconds. It will make you better if you play this way.
Yeah, man. Okay, so last thing here, play for your future self. Play for your future self. And there's two ways that I'm going to go here. And the first way is the hockey way. And again, this is where we'll give you some data. This is where we'll give you some hard objectional facts about why we believe in the community model and why Minnesota continues to lead the way in the United States of the development of elite hockey players. The stuff that we're talking about here today, it makes you a better hockey player. And so here's just a few stats about the community model, and specifically in Minnesota. We had Glenn Heffernan on our podcast, who's the USHL commissioner, a couple weeks ago. 25% of the USHL is players from one state, Minnesota. 25% of the best junior league in the United States comes from one state, in Minnesota. In last year's NHL draft, there were 17 players drafted from Minnesota. That is the same amount of players drafted than the next 4 states combined.
Ooh.
That is the same amount the next 4 states combined. And those 4 states are New York, Illinois, California, and Michigan. Insane stat. And then the last stat, in last year's NCAA, so this is on the men's side, last year's NCAA men's season, there were 249 players from Minnesota. That's more than the next 2 states combined, right? So that would be Massachusetts and New York. And so, again, playing for something bigger than you, the community model, playing for your town, honoring everything that we've talked about, the people that got you there, honoring the past, honoring the future, playing for each other, playing for the logo on the front. Now, you and I are both a product of Tier 1 hockey. You and I know that there's a place for best on best competition, and there's a lot of merit to, at the right time, narrowing the talent pyramid, right? Where you're playing against the best, you're challenging yourself. But everybody is trying to do that in diapers nowadays. And we're forgetting about the most important part of what youth sports is supposed to be about. And that's learning how to be a part of a team and the life lessons that you learn that helps you be better. And so, the community model, I think it's a lot easier to play for something bigger than yourself in the community model than it is in the club privatized model. I'm not saying that you can't develop that culture in your club model. It's just a lot harder to do that based on the circumstances of what the organization is. But here's some facts, guys. This model where they don't narrow the talent pyramid at 8 years old when you're playing mite hockey, where you're not traveling 9 times a year and staying in hotel rooms all the time. You're playing with your brothers, you're playing with your sisters, you're playing for something bigger than you, you're playing for your community. The numbers show that this develops the most amount of elite hockey players. So this stuff is important. And I'm not I want to make sure I said not everywhere can be Minnesota. We're not advocating for that. You can't do it. There's a lot of other factors like public versus private rinks and costs and all that kind of stuff. It's impossible to clone Minnesota and put that in every spot around the rest of the country and in Canada. But what I see in youth hockey and youth sports as general is we're going so much further away from that model. We got to get closer to that. We have to teach kids and parents and people to understand the value of playing for something bigger than you, not be club hopping all the time to 10 different organizations in 10 years, because you don't learn these values of playing for the logo on the front of the jersey, which makes you a better player. We need to get back to that. And so these are just some data, guys, on the elite development of talent that's happening in the state that does this the best. All right. So not saying you have to clone it and do everything that way. It's impossible to do that, but we got to get a lot closer to that. And I challenge everybody in the club hockey world to really think about how you can create an environment and a culture that brings this out in the families and the kids that are a part of your program?
Dude, smoke today, man. I don't know. You ate your Wheaties today, and I am loving it. And it's what I know. It's hard to kind of think about this, and like obviously there are circumstances where you got to change organizations and things like that, but it's not always so easy, because the hard times are good, because playing for the jersey and what's, building with that group, what that does to you as a hockey player, and finding a way, not just going to the next thing, going to the next thing, going to the next thing. I had a call with an agent yesterday talking about a college hockey player who everyone at the next level is like, don't tell that guy to go to the portal. Like, he needs to stay. He needs to find a way to figure it out. His whole life, he's just went to the next team, This is the NHL, talking about a really good Division I college hockey player, and if I bet I would have to guess that when he was younger, he probably was doing the same thing, jumping from org to org, if I had to guess. Right. So with these things, they sound like not a big deal, but they really are.
It's a huge deal.
They're character builders.
It's an absolute huge deal. I'll talk about it like you talked about it from an NHL standpoint, 100%. I, as a Division I coach, would talk to NHL scouts all the time about these kinds of things. And it's funny, like if you talk to people at the highest levels of this game, they're shaking their head about what's going on at the youth level, because it's not helping prepare the kids for that level. Because to succeed at that level and to get to that level, you need to understand how to be a part of a team. If you wear a letter and you're a leader as a recruiter at the Division I level, that meant something to us. When we would talk to your coach, and your coach would I call it the daddy-daughter test. Like when a coach would say, hey man, I would let this kid date my daughter. Like that meant something to us. When you see a kid that grows up in a program and stays with that program throughout the whole, they're not a jersey chaser. Like if we go on Elite Prospects and we see a kid has played for 5 different youth hockey organizations, that is a red flag. Probably not going to take that kid. Doesn't matter how talented they are, especially at the college level, because we're probably going to have this kid for 1 year and then he's probably gone if things don't go his way. And everybody in college hockey, it's hard. It doesn't go your way all the time, So this stuff matters. It really, really matters. So you say, like, you almost said it like tongue in cheek, like you might not think this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. This is a really big deal. And I'll go even a step further, not just for your development as a hockey player and getting to the next level, not based upon just how much it's going to make you a better hockey player, but also in the recruiting process of like learning about you as a person and wanting you as a part of our team because you understand how to be a great teammate. But let's talk about the other elephant in the room. There's a mental health crisis for the youth in youth sports today. You look at all the studies that are going on right now about the pressure that kids are feeling and the pressure that families are feeling and the amount of money that's going into youth sports and just how it's just kind of bastardized what was the best part of youth sports when we were growing up. This is not good for the development of our kids' mental health either. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. And so, choose the environment, create the environment where they're understanding, like, it's not just about them. And when you get them to think about where their place is in the world and that they're just a small part of this bigger thing, and they can honor that and appreciate that and understand like where they are, God, like you're going to develop people that like are happier and more fulfilled with what they do. And they're not going to put so much pressure on themselves because they're not just thinking about themselves all the time. They're thinking about others. It's a service oriented type thing that we're talking about here. And so, man, like it's, God, I'm all hot and bothered now, but this is something we got to fix. I don't like, there's good things going on. I don't want to, I'm not bashing youth sports right now.
Of course.
There's so many good people that are doing these types of things that we're talking about, and I want to honor those people here too. And we're here because of it. We've shared some of the really positive things of what's happened in our lives and things that we've seen when we understand this stuff that we're talking about right now. And so, man, like it just, you see the stats from an elite development standpoint, from a hockey, and then you just think about from a mental, emotional, spiritual, I'd even say like standpoint too. Like it makes us better, makes us more fulfilled, makes us happier. And just from a mental health, it's way better. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Dude, amen. Everything you've said today has been like, you're dialed. I don't know what you're dialed every day, but like you're super, super dialed. So whatever your pre-podcast meal was today, let's get a little stitious and let's start doing that again every day here. Because I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
A little stitious, Michael Scott, my brother. All right,
Let's go,
last thing. Okay, we talk about playing for your future self, and we just talked about it from a hockey lens. Now let's talk about this from a personal lens. Everything that I have learned in the game, and in this presentation that I've given, I show some pictures of myself as a 3-year-old playing hockey, and then I actually have a picture of myself and my grandfather, Jeff and I's grandfather, playing in the backyard when he would freeze, the backyard rink, and then pick a couple pictures of some championships that I've won at the youth hockey level and then at the college level. So all of these experiences that I've had, and I just chose to share some of the really, really good ones. But in reality, the teacher was a lot of the really, really tough moments of my life too. And then I show a picture of my family, and I show a picture of myself with my wife and my 3 daughters, Paige, Lucy, and Celia. And I am so incredibly grateful for every experience that I've had in this game, because it has allowed me to be the husband and the father that I want to be for the most important people in my life, and that's my family. And so when we think about everything we've talked about today, there is so much more to life than just hockey. However, for us, hockey is life. And this game has been the greatest teacher. This game has been our biggest advocate. This game has been our biggest thorn in our side, at some different times. But what this game has given us is it's given us the skills, it's given us the perspective, it's given us the experiences that allow us to be the people that we want to be for the people that we want to be that person for. And so when I think about my kids and I think about my wife and I think about just how we've gotten to here today, I am the man that I am because I understood the power of playing for something bigger than you, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm not here without it. I'm grateful for the really, really great moments. I'm grateful for the really, really tough moments. I'm grateful for my community, for all of the people that helped to shape me into who I am today. I'm grateful for the outside community, and just the sacrifices that people have made so I could, go for my dreams. And, there's so much power to that, man. You see how emotional I'm getting right now, just even thinking about it. And when we can really, truly bring this to the people that we have the influence on, there's nothing more powerful than understanding the power of playing for something bigger than you. And it's going to help you in the end.
And playing for your future self, it doesn't just mean, like you said, it doesn't just mean hockey. Like going through the tough times, like finding a way, like working on yourself, self-reflection, like all the things that you have to do daily to be the best hockey player you can possibly be, literally are going to make you a better person and a better player. And the hard times, especially the hard times, they suck when you're going through them. Trust, Toph, injuries, injuries, concussion, my last year pro, having to
self-doubt, no confidence.
Yeah, dude, going through a divorce while I'm trying to be, play a hockey season. Super, super, super hard. Going through the concussion stuff, crazy hard. I'll never go through things that are that hard again in my life. And I can always look back and be like, how did I get through that? Okay, this is tough, but how did I get through that? And so when Toph's talking about playing for your future self, like everything that you're doing, learning how to get better at something, self-reflection, honest self-talk, positive self-talk, dedication, just everything that you have to do to be better at hockey is going to help your future self be a better person and be more successful at whatever it is you're doing in life. Guys, I've worked with thousands of players in person, multiple thousands over the last 18, 20 years, even more than that, because I was like coaching in the summers while I was a player in the beginning of my career too. I'd come and coach. Like, I've worked with so many players, and the kids who like did it the right way, they're different than the kids who didn't.
Yeah.
20 years later, 15 years later, I have all of these like data points to look back at. And in my head, I'm always like, okay, is this kid right now, if he lived life like this or whatever, like how he is as a person, his character, how's he going to be in life after hockey? And how's he going to be if they stayed the exact same and they don't grow. And I'm right like 100% of the time. Like, it's actually wild, dude. Like this character part of it and how you show up every day while you're a hockey player, the things that you can learn if the right environment is pushing those things and caring about those things, the things that you can learn through this game will absolutely 100% change your life.
100%, man. Love that. Absolute mic drop to end this thing off. So power playing bigger for something bigger than you. We talk about playing for the people that got you here, playing for the people that laid the bricks, playing for the next generation that's coming after you, playing for each other, playing for the people on your team, and then playing for your future self. And man, I have had so much fun giving this presentation, this speech yesterday in Minnesota. I've had so much fun batting it around with you here today, and hopefully everybody who's listening can take something from this and use it to help create that environment where the people that you're a part of are understanding that there is a huge, huge power in playing for something bigger than you. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you for this. This was a long one, I guess. Just looking at the clock right now, it didn't seem that long, but I hope you can take this and use it to make your environment better. And we love you guys. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player drops and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer, copyright 2026, NHL, all rights reserved.